The Paracave Podcast, proudly brought to you by major sponsor Jack's Pale Ale, exclusively available at Parramatta Eels Club, Shannon Cooney from Glenmore Park Realty, BTZD Clothing, and the official media partner of the Paracave Podcast, the Parramatta Times.
Welcome to another episode of the Paracave Podcast. And now over to your host, Troy Warner, broadcasting live from the world-famous Paracave.
And yes, hello and welcome back to the Paracave Podcast. I just thought I'd jump on today and have a little bit of a conversation, I guess you could say, about an article that came out today about the possibility of Master Coach Wayne Bennett joining the Parramatta Eels in 2025. Now, this, I guess you could say, this has been on all the social media channels, and it was, I think, first released by the Mole on NRL on 9 website and socials, and it was just about the idea about Wayne Bennett, the super coach, coming to Parramatta as in a similar role to what Phil Gould holds at the Bulldogs. Now, that would be a coaching director role. So a lot of people think that maybe if Wayne Bennett's coming, then he will be a replacement for Brad Arthur. So that is not the case. Look, I don't know if this is true or not from a Parramatta perspective. Obviously, they're not commenting on anything at the moment, but this is just media talk. And so the idea of Wayne Bennett coming to Parramatta in 2025 as a coaching director role. Now, it really seems very, very interesting as to whether it would happen or not. Now, the super coach, Wayne Bennett, he turned 74 recently, and this is his last season at the Dolphins. He's going to step down so Christian Wolf, his assistant coach, can take over the reins of the Dolphins. He's obviously was their coach in their inaugural year last season, 2023, and will coach them this year in their second year. So, look, he still has a love of rugby league, obviously. He's been in the game since 1987 in the, I guess you could say, the NRL, in a coaching capacity as either a head coach or an assistant coach. My memories of him, the Canberra Raiders assistant coach to Don Furner in the 87 grand final, and then obviously the Brisbane Broncos coach in 1988, he was their inaugural coach as well. So, and coaching Queensland as well in the State of Origin series. So that's my first memories of him. But obviously, way before that, he played rugby league as well. So he's been in the game a long, long time. He's seen a lot of games. He's seen a lot of players. He's seen a lot of coaches. He's seen a lot of tactics. He is, I guess you could say, one of the best ever coaches. Some would say the best coach ever. But some would say Jack Gibson is the super coach. But Wayne Bennett, he is the current. He is, some would say, as I said, some would say he would be the super coach, the greatest coach of rugby league that we have ever seen. Now, I think it's very interesting what this would mean. So, obviously, a coaching director role would mean that obviously he would help Brad Arthur in his job, I guess, offer advice, and hopefully to try and get closer to winning that elusive premiership and end that premiership drought. Now, obviously, as I said, he's got that experience, so why wouldn't you want to have Wayne Bennett in your ear, helping you out, giving you tips, thinking, this is what I've done, maybe try that. I like what you do here, maybe try this, that sort of thing. Just having someone in his ear, being in and around training every day, I guess. Look, we know Wayne Bennett is a great player, a man, I guess you could say. Really listens to his players, really knows his players. And I think Brad Arthur has that same sort of connection with his players as well. We heard him over the weekend say that he has everyone's been connected a lot better this off-season, having 13 weeks off in a 13-week pre-season, the longest they've ever had. So they've spent a lot of time and the connection is a lot better. So I think he's similar also to Wayne, has that benefit of having that connection with his players and being, I guess you could maybe say, one of the boys, but when it comes to business, that's what Brad's all about. I think, look, one of the good reasons about having Brad Arthur as head coach of the Eels is I heard Jermaine Hopgood the other week say that when he was about to leave Penrith, it was probably between North Queensland and the Parramatta Eels, and he just had that conversation with Brad about what would happen if he joined the Eels, and he knew that was the club that he wanted to join then and there. So even though he is a Queenslander, so will it mean that Wayne will take over Brad Arthur's job? Look, I don't think so. I don't think so. Will it even happen? Again, I think it's pretty unlikely that it will happen. And the only reason I say that is that means that Wayne, who is a Queenslander, would have to move back to New South Wales, away from family. He's not the head coach of a team. He's just a coaching director, head coaching director. But if the contract's good enough, then I guess you could say that anybody would take a contract up with a famous club like Parramatta, I guess, to help them end this premiership drought. So, look, if it does happen and Wayne comes in 2025 and plays that role and Parramatta end up winning the premiership, well, then it's a masterstroke, isn't it? But if it does, obviously something like that is going to take time as well. Sometimes these things don't gel straight away, and I think it will take time. So it may take 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, who knows. But just having that Wayne Bennett effect at Parramatta, I think, is only a bonus. I mean, we all saw what Wayne did for the Kiwis in the 2008 World Cup final, or World Cup, just being that assistant, sort of lend an ear to, give advice to Stephen Kearney, who was the head coach at the time. So we've seen what effect he can have on a team. Sure, the World Cup was a lot shorter than a NRL season, but that would only be a benefit. Wouldn't you think that if he was there for an NRL season, then he's there for a lot longer than just a World Cup? So, look, I think it was a very interesting article. Certainly a lot of comment from a lot of fans, Parramatta fans, rugby league fans, about this, but which is normal. Parramatta creates headlines and waves in the media, and I guess as soon as Parramatta is seen in the media, fans take notice and they have a read and they have their opinions. And look, everyone's entitled to their opinion, that's for sure. So look, I just think it'll be a really interesting idea. I'm not saying that I would love to have him there, but it would be good to have him there if it is true. So I wouldn't say no if it is true and he does end up in that coaching director role in 2025 at the Eels. What's your thoughts, listeners? What do you think? If you're a Parramatta fan, let me know. Would you want to have Wayne Bennett at your club, at our club, I should say, as well, as a coaching director, someone who could help Brad Arthur get that premiership for Parramatta? Or are you against it? Or are you a fan of another club? What are your thoughts on this? Do you think maybe if Wayne does come, that puts a lot of pressure on Brad Arthur, and then he maybe steps away and Wayne becomes coach if he comes, allegedly. So who knows? I guess we just have to watch this space. I'm sure Wayne won't say anything about it, about the media article. I think he'll be more concentrating on the Dolphins season at the moment. I think this will probably be one that's sort of under the carpet for a long time, and if it does happen, probably won't be announced until, I guess, late in the season. That's what I think he would want it. He'd want to be concentrating on the Dolphins season anyway. And look, it's only a link at the moment, a potential link. So as I said, Parramatta haven't said anything about it. Fans are talking about it. So who knows? What's your thoughts? Let me know. Thank you very much for listening. If you can, please follow the podcast on the social media channels, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok, and YouTube as well. Please give me a follow. I would really appreciate the support and the follow there. And also subscribe to the podcast platform that you're listening to right now so you don't miss a thing. Look, I think during this year, maybe I will do some more little things like this about articles about Parramatta on the podcast. And I think, just to get my opinion out there as a fan. So we may do more stuff like this. We may also do any big sort of news in rugby league, may do a podcast about that as well. So I'm just really enjoying doing these podcasts, putting them out to you, hoping that you're enjoying them. So this is just a rugby league fan's opinion. I know there's a lot of rugby league podcasts out there, so there's a lot of content to listen to, but hopefully you're listening to mine. And as I said, just a rugby league fan, just giving his opinion about what's going on in the world of rugby league, and probably more in particular the Parramatta Eels. So thank you very much for listening. Please subscribe, please follow, enjoy your footy, and I will catch you next time.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the Parramatta Podcast. See you next time.